1/3 of the public service is off the job just 2 days into the strike, and Canadians across this country are already feeling the services that are delayed or in some cases totally halted. Some of those disruptions include processing tax returns. There are delays also to immigration services and to Veterans Affairs benefits and supports. Passport processing is almost entirely shut down. Passports are only being processed, in fact, for humanitarian and urgent cases. We spoke to people trying to get their passports. Here's what they had to say.
I don't really understand why they're striking, because they would like to stay home and make more money, and that doesn't quite make sense to me. Like, I would like to stay home and make more money.
I told them I'm traveling next month, and he said, I'm like, when is it ending? He said, I don't know.
They told me that you have to wait. You have to wait until the strike is done.
According to the feds yesterday, on day one of the strike, more than 3,000 people showed up to apply for a passport. Only 500 got one. Karina Gould is the minister responsible for processing passports. Hi, Minister. Good to have you here in studio. Thanks for making the time.
Thanks, Vassy.
How many applications would you get on a normal day?
On a normal day, we'd get between 20 and 25,000.
So you're processing 500 now?
Yeah.
So it's a drastic difference.
It's a huge, dramatic difference. And if, unfortunately, if you have travel coming up, that's not considered by law to be urgent or humanitarian. And by law, because of the general strike, the employees at Service Canada's and passport offices cannot process passports. And so my recommendation is not even to drop off an application, because it'll just sit there. And if you drop it off, they can't review it like they normally do and return your identity documents. You just have to leave everything there, and they can't return it to you until the strike is over.
What about putting one in the mail? If time isn't of the essence and you're thinking, I need one in 6 months, should you still do that, or should you just be waiting?
I mean, like, you can, but we don't know how long the strike is going to last, and every application that gets sent off will just accumulate in a backlog. And so, my recommendation is now is not the time, because it just won't be processed until the strike is over.
You use that word backlog, and as I've been watching you over the past few days make these announcements, I've been thinking about that backlog and remembering, last summer when we were covering that so intensively because there was such a big backlog. Fast forward 6-8 months, and you were able to make the announcement that you'd cleared it, that processing times were back within the realm of what the government was hoping to see and what Canadians expected. What does this do to that?
It really depends on how long the labor action lasts for. We receive on average about 85,000 applications each week. A healthy inventory is 160 to 200,000 passports in the system. We have much more capacity today than we did this time last year. So, if this is a week long, can absorb the capacity. If it goes beyond that, then there will be repercussions in terms of the processing. We still have capacity though, so I don't anticipate that we're going to get to a situation like we saw last summer. I remain very hopeful that we're going to, as a government, reach an agreement with the union and hopefully get folks back to work and processing passports for Canadians. But honestly, Vassy, it's really going to depend on how long this labor action lasts.
So am I true, if I read between the lines there, anything over a week, it gets a bit dodgy? You do have excess capacity, but would you as minister start to worry if it goes on longer than a week?
Well, look, we respect collective bargaining. We respect the right to strike, and are engaged in negotiations, and are doing this in good faith. But I have to be honest with Canadians, this will have an impact on them accessing services. We already see that that's happening yesterday and today. Again, it really depends on what that looks like. If, the strike ends and the people who didn't apply for 2 weeks apply all at the same time, that will also have an impact, because again, there's only so much capacity in the system. Because we have more, I don't think it's going to be something where we're going to see months of delays, but whereas as of Monday, we were processing applications 99% of the time within service standard, that's likely going to decrease because of the job action.
And do you have any plans, and I mean, I'm looking ahead now here, but say that the strike does end, and it's gone on long enough that it does accrue some sort of backlog. Do you have any plans in the works to increase capacity even beyond where it is now in order to avoid a situation like the one Canadians had to deal with last summer?
Well, I'm really hopeful that we're going to reach an agreement. I'm hopeful that that will happen sooner rather than later. I know both parties continue to negotiate, at the bargaining table, and so I'm very hopeful, and I encourage them to keep doing that to minimize the impact on Canadians. But certainly, we learned a lot from the experience last summer in terms of how to prioritize, how to make sure that we're triaging applications and making sure that we're doing things as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And so I feel confident that even though there may be delays, we're not going to get into the same situation.
If in fact there isn't as much reason for optimism at the negotiating table, because we are in day 2 of the strike, to sort of add a dose of reality to that, you sit at the cabinet table. Based on that and combined with the purview you have over this file, would you be supportive of back-to-work legislation? If so, at what point?
Well, look, again, we want a deal at the table. That's what we're working towards. And, we're going to continue to operate in that vein. I strongly hope that that's what we get to do. And I hope that the union continues to negotiate in good faith as well. A strike is disruptive for everyone. It's disruptive for the Canadians who are experiencing challenges in accessing services, but it's also disruptive for the workers themselves. I hope that let's get to that agreement at the bargaining table. That's what we want.
Have you ruled it out, though, with respect? I take all that. I take all those points genuinely, but has your government ruled out employing that kind of legislation?
Our focus right now is getting an agreement at the bargaining table.
That's not really an answer, though.
That's what our focus is, and that's what we continue to work on in good faith, because we believe in collective bargaining, we believe in the right to strike, we believe in workers' rights.
You have used back-to-work legislation before, though, twice.
But we want to get this deal done at the bargaining table.
Okay, before I let you go, I actually have a question on a different subject, because about a year ago we were speaking in an interview right after a leaked decision on Roe v. Wade. And I had asked you about whether or not American women who couldn't access abortion in the United States would be able to do so here. And you replied in the affirmative. You said, yeah, they would be. It made a lot of news in the United States in particular. That country is now facing yet another hurdle, right? Tomorrow, I can see in your face, you're following it closely. Tomorrow, the Supreme Court is going to weigh in on whether to uphold a ban on an abortion drug. Yeah. From where you sit, is there a possibility, or will American women who can't access it in the United States be able to get it here?
Well, first of all, let me say that I'm definitely following this closely, and I think every Canadian woman should be following this closely, because the playbook that we're seeing in the United States, we can't negate that could happen here, right? Like, we have to be vigilant about protecting our reproductive rights. That's very important. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We have certainly said that, we would work to provide that for American women should that happen in the United States. What concerns me, Vassy, is where you see laws in states where they're actually criminalizing women cross state borders to access reproductive health care. And so, we need to be very thoughtful about how we do this to make sure that we don't further endanger, American women who are seeking access to reproductive health care and services, as well as health care providers. So, we remain very committed to making sure that we can support American women if they need that access here. But we also have to make sure that we think about their safety to those states that are criminalizing them access health services outside of those state borders.
Do we have the supply to be able to help out of that drug?
Well, look, we're not there yet, but this is certainly something that, we're thinking about and actively, engaged on. I know that this is an active conversation in the United States. Let's hope it doesn't get to that point tomorrow. And certainly, President Biden and his administration have been very active on this front. But I have to say this is an extraordinarily concerning time as a woman in North America. And, I think we need to be in solidarity with American women right now, but we also have to be hyper vigilant here in Canada as well.
Okay, Minister, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.